Okay, so here we go. This is it. This is our first, what I'm going to call Sunday Fireside Sessions, where it'll be a longer format, and this will be a space to share an entire story that's got lessons and experiences, twists and turns, and something that has changed me as a patroller. There are quite a few experiences, but some, are stand out more than others, where it changes and impacts you as a patroller. All for good, and help me become the patroller I am today. And so one of the ones, I guess more recently, it might have been like 4 years ago at this point, maybe 3 or 4 years ago. It was like right when COVID was ending, I think. But anyways, my friend Lydia, she was working with us on the mountain, and I'm not going to get into these patient specifics, but because obviously we have HIPAA and stuff, but I can talk about the situation. And it was a woman in her 40s, and she was Ukrainian. And so I'll get into that in a second. This was also kind of right when that Ukrainian war was starting. So I remember being like, whoa, they're having a tough time. And this woman definitely doesn't need this, like she's over here in America being safe. And all of a sudden, so here's our thing. It's like a Monday or Tuesday. It's early in the week, right? And I remember it was a nice, easy, almost too easy. It's one of those times when you're like, this is a little too quiet. So we never, and I don't believe in superstitions, but things happen when they happen. And so I think it was around like 1 o'clock or something. And here's another thing I want to get off my chest. I do all of these off the riff. I'm not scripting any of this. I'm not making any goofy soundtracks or intros or cuts. This is going to be pretty minimal editing and maximal authenticity. I think that's how you kind of just get authentic stories. And for me, that's whatever. Anyway, so back to it. It was about 1 o'clock on a Monday or Tuesday. I would say like on a February, like we were 100% open. So we get a call, and it is unconscious patient in the woods, not moving, something like that, off the trail of Fall Mount. I was about to say Far Side, but it was a trail called Fall Mount on our mountain. Anyways, so we're going down, and it's just a trail that people take to get back to the main mixing bowl area, the main area where the lifts are. And so, yeah, she was ripping down. She must have been. So anyways, we get a call. There's a patient. So I take the bullet, what we call bullet, just to get down there as fast as possible and see. And I grabbed Lydia, one of my friends, to come with me. So we go, because we knew it was going to be kind of bad if she's off in the woods and not moving. So we book it and get down there in like 4 minutes. And when I show, so let me slow down here. So Lydia and I are getting down there. We get the call. We get our stuff on, get out the room, go down the hill. And when you're getting to a scene, first off, you want to get there safely. So we want to get there fast. We want to get there safe. And boy, were we moving. I don't think, there are very few times I can remember going as fast as where like the wind is what's keeping me from going faster. Or air resistance, like our mountain doesn't have like super steep. So it's like, there's a certain speed where you just can't. So anyways, I was flying, going safe, but getting there. Got there, and the bystander on the side of the hill, he was wearing a blue jacket, I won't forget. And I couldn't see his face because it was a colder day, but he pointed over with a ski pole and said, "I think she's dead." And I said, "Nah, not till we're finished looking at her, buddy." So I said, "Hey, ma'am, you okay?" Start yelling out to her, and I'm looking through. So we have basically areas have catch fences to help catch people from going off trail. And she had such inertia, and the energy that she was carrying, I call it Houdini'd her through that fence. Now, how did she actually get through there? My best guess, the simplest explanation, is she went underneath of it, and the snow it forced her head up to the cable, which cut her. Like, she had a big gash in her eyebrow, and there was a log over to the left, which is important. So that'll come back later. So she is laying there, and I say, ma'am, are you okay? And I see her eyes are open. And I see she's breathing. I can see that she's conscious. but she's not verbally responsive. So I go, ma'am, are you okay? Are you okay? And she's just looking up in the air, and she's posturing. And what that means in medicine is her arms were flexing in a position that has flexation, and you can tell when you see it. It's an indication of some damage to the brainstem, or some of those the cerebellum, some of the base area, like the areas that are critical for life. And so, good thing I got her. She was breathing. That's huge. She wasn't necessarily moving. So what I called in, we got down there. First off, let me back up a little bit just to get to her. No, we got to her just fine. But then we called in we called in all the resources. So we'll make that call. This is an unresponsive patient. And when you have that, like, that's all you need to say. People said it, but we called for the backboard, O2, bot bag, trauma bag, all the goodies. So we got oxygen. So that came down. We got oxygen on her right away. But before we could do that, since she was on the other side of this catch fence, there wasn't enough room under, like we could. So we had to cut a vertical slit in this nylon catch fence that was big enough to squeeze the litter, the toboggan through. Or no, did we get no, we brought her. Yeah, no, we brought the backboard through, of course. So we brought the backboard through there. I'm just thinking this through. So we cut a vertical slit in there. We got the oxygen in, collar on her. So we put a collar on her, got an oxygen mask on her. And I remember she was kind of trying to take the mask off the whole time, and which is it's common to have with head injuries. This is my third, or probably the third one I can remember, where I had what we call combative patient. And she was trying to take this oxygen mask off her face. And so I'm holding it on her face, taking her vitals. Lydia's doing a badass job. My boy JD was there. He was helping out. I think Sean was on scene there. Brendan came through. So anyways, these names are all fake to protect the innocent, right? So anyways, we got it situated where we got her on the backboard. And then the next tough part was getting her back through that hole. So we got her backboarded, and this is like the whole call itself was like 22 minutes to get her down from the start to finish in the clinic, something like that. And we got her in the backboard, got the backboard through the slit into the sled, and we have a snowmobile that's pulling the toboggan. And so I'm sitting there, and I'm sitting reverse on the snowmobile to look at her. And of course she's taking the mask off. And this is where I took back, a lesson. And this is for patrollers listening, like, maybe get someone in the sled there with them, or put a sled next to them, bring two sleds. And so you can, because combative patients, she took the oxygen mask off, and there's no way for us to get over there to put it back on her. So the oxygen mask is just dragging behind her, not helping out. And that's something I expected it, but yeah, it's all in the heat of the moment. Like, I wanted to jump down in the sled and put it back on her, but I couldn't. We were moving. We had to boogie and get her out. So that was a second priority to just getting her packaged up. And so for this one, we called in a life flight. And for that, we get down to the clinic and we quickly get them into an ambulance, which then transports over to and this is where we interface with paramedics. Paramedics will then also evaluate the patient, give their assessments. We pass on information that we've had, vitals, and we just continue and we work together as a team. That's called handing off to higher level care. And so once they have her in their gurney, basically, they always have really nice gurneys. They took her and we all went over to the landing zone, which is by maintenance. And so we had a life flight come in. The flight nurse got there. And what was it? I remember. Oh no, that was the kid. Okay. So I've had a few flight nights. I'm going to tell that story maybe next Sunday. But this woman, we got her, into the helicopter, and she just got flown out. And the crazy thing is, it was slightly in the news. I think there was like a article paper on like woman gets hurt at this resort. And like, That's fine. And most of the time we don't get feedback on how the patient ends up. I pray that she's okay. I think she's all right. I know she was still alive and okay when we handed her off, and that's our job. At the end of the day, we don't fix anything. We stabilize and transport. That's it. We provide comfort, care, stabilize, transport. We let doctors, paramedics, and, people are way smarter than us dirtbag patrollers do the big stuff. But yeah, that was a big, and like Liddy and I, and when you go through like a scene like that with someone, you bond like really well. And so that's why I've been through a lot of scenes with a lot of my buddies and pals on the patrol. And it's cool because we just end up like trusting each other, and you end up getting a feeling of like what people's strengths are and weaknesses are. And how that can add up and to the bigger picture, and how we can all kind of get things done together. And I got a great boss that does it. Like, he's one of the best bosses I've had in like any job. This is patrol. So it's like, I've learned that it's important to lead from the front and from the back. Like, it's he leads by example. And we're always emphasizing through top-down leadership, this message of ski with a purpose. And that's been drilled into me since I started patrolling, like, ski with a purpose. Don't take a run for, have fun. The job is definitely fun, but it's still the job. And the true professionals get a run in and fix a few things on the way down. That's how you do it. That's how I've learned to do it. That's how I'm going to pass it along, and if you're really nice with it, sometimes you can throw the bamboo from the chairlift. That's another little tidbit. On some runs, you can set up a run going uphill by throwing the bamboo down. And of course, you don't just leave it there. You got to go get it again. So, but what it does is it saves you from carrying bamboo down a hill. You can there are little tricks to lighten your load and keep things, smooth. Man, I learned from another boss of mine. This dude's badass. I'm still on the fence using names or whatever on this, but like, he is cool as hell. And told me slow is smooth and smooth is fast. And that stuck with me. And it's so true with everything you do, but especially things that are physical and involve, injury and risk. Like, slow is smooth and smooth is fast, because you don't want to go fast. You really want to be smooth, because in the end, it's just getting it done safely that matters. That's what matters. And if you get it done and someone gets hurt, it doesn't matter how fast you got it done, because someone got hurt. So anyways, that's our first Sunday fireside. No holds barred, just kind of shoot from the hip here. That's how we do it. And I'm recording this on Saturday so I can publish it out. And I'm just kind of banging out a few of these episodes to give this podcast some oomph on the start, just on this get. So I'm excited, man. And I'm looking at the metrics and people are digging it. So let's keep this train rolling. All right. Peace, y'all.